couple of weeks ago, I visited a exhibition called Game Worlds. So Game Worlds kind of just had a brief history of how games came about and some of their origins leading up to some of the newer games we have today. So first up, we have this mainframe game. I believe it's supposed to be one of the first few networking games that was available. So obviously, computer games have been around for quite a while, but yeah, this was one of the very first server-based games on a mainframe. And basically, you would kind of control this game just by flicking, switches up and down in a combination with a bunch of other switches. There was also some of the really old text adventure games, if anyone remembers those. And basically you would type in an action and then, kind of interact with the game that way. I believe this game was the Hobbit game, right there. And yeah, you got some of the very old kind of devices, basically, that were used. A very old iBook there. I don't think I ever had one of these myself. Also a Commodore 64 there. And they also had, a kind of LAN party set up. So basically, 4 people in this exhibition could play against each other in Team Fortress. So yeah, here's me kind of just playing it and all that. Basically, the other people on my team were kind of just kids and all that. So yeah, I wasn't trying to actually win the game. It was just nice, being part of a LAN party. Next up, we had kind of the Elder Scrolls Online section. Had some very nice artwork here that I could actually have a look at. They even had an interactive part where I could actually move around the little models of the game and, just, as you can see, zoom in really close and have a look at, how exactly they, made some of these textures and that. I'm surprised with, how zoomed in I could get, because I assume most of these things were only supposed to be background. And here's a photo of me, with some more of the artwork they had on display here. Next up was the Hollow Knight and Silksong part of the exhibition. They had some of the original drawings, basically, that were used in the game. So yeah, so some of them were kind of digital sketches that the artists did, where some of them were actually scanned versions of hand-drawn images and all of that. Quite nice to see. They also had, basically, I don't know if many of you understand this diagram here, but it's kind of the AI system for the enemies, and that's basically, I believe that in a certain state, they will perform different actions and all that. So yeah. And also they had kind of a 4-person setup here, so you could just sit down, grab the Xbox controller, and just have a little bit of a play. Then I moved on to the Final Fantasy XIV online part. They had quite a good collection of some of the character player models, artwork and scenery there. You could also pick up and listen to a bit of a audio part with that headphone that was there. I kind of listened to basically them describe how they created Final Fantasy XIV Online. Oh yeah, and this part basically was quite interesting. They had an entire section dedicated to basically the sex scenes in Baldur's Gate. Yeah, so why not take a photo with Asterion? Oh, and this was another interesting part that I found. Basically, someone had actually managed to program Doom onto a very small Lego block. I can only assume that this must have been created by someone really interested in Doom to see whether they could get it so small in that. They also had a giant controller, which was quite a hassle to try and maneuver with just one person, to be honest. I had to kind of, stretch my arms out both sides. Kind of one hand for the D-pad and then one hand just for each individual buttons. And once I was kind of done walking around some of the exhibitions, they actually had a nice place where you could kind of sit down and watch some cinematic events from different games. But rather than me trying to explain it, how about you watch it for yourself? Like, isn't this just amazing? Being able to just lie down on a beanbag and watch these scenes go by. As you can see, I spent quite a while just sitting down here and enjoying it. watching all the different scenes from all these different games. So yeah, half of it's on the wall and then half is on the ceiling, so yeah, you can just lay back, watch both the wall and the ceiling go by. It didn't quite pick up this Red Dead Redemption fire that was going on.